Good morning, everybody. Baruch Hashem. We're continuing on with our Maamar, and I am pretty sure today we're going to finish, which is very, very exciting, and we're going to have to celebrate and be very proud of ourselves. Most people have watched and joined regularly. Even some people have even come every single day. So a huge, huge, huge pat on your backs for everybody who's here, and a huge pat on your back for everybody who's watched the recordings regularly, because kol hakavod to everybody. Okay, here we are. So yesterday we spoke about, I'm not going all the way back, I'm just going about yesterday. Oh, yes, yesterday we spoke about the Shema and how saying Shema is actually the time when it kind of encapsulates this whole concept of going beyond our boundaries. And even if we do it, obviously we do things during the day which are, which push us and like take us to a whole other level, like beyond our boundaries. But during the Shema, it kind of reminds us, it's like our daily like boost of inspiration that we're supposed to be working on this. And not only that, but when we do it, when we push ourselves to really have proper kavanah while saying Shema, we also, it gives us the power that even during the rest of the day, when we may not be consciously thinking about it, but we are living with that mindset. So somebody, for example, yesterday asked me, like, what about taking care of my, of my kids or my baby or whatever? And does that, even if I'm not consciously thinking about Hashem right then and there, and like, oh wow, I have this like deep love, like emotional whatever for Hashem right then and there, but I'm still pushing myself beyond to take care of my kids, is that still considered? Absolutely. And I am so glad that question was asked, because it really gets to the point of what we're trying to accomplish. Doing our avodas Hashem, and it's a whole different Maamar, but for example, Maamar discusses this. Doing our avodas Hashem doesn't mean we have to, we just sit in Kailo the rest of our lives, especially all of us. I mean, we don't have we're not sitting in Kailo the rest of our lives, but it just means to put on our Hashem glasses on a regular basis. Every day you join in and you watch a Living Chassidus Maamar, or you learn on your own, or whatever. Every single time you put on your Hashem glasses, the rest of the day you're doing your regular quote unquote stam things, but you're living with a whole other level of appreciation for Hashem. Like for example, yesterday, so my kids have this like kind of like drawer system thing that will, like, where you put, like, those square boxes that you put toys inside and you like pull them out and put it back in. So for Pesach, I pulled it apart, and like I wanted to make sure to like get all the crevices, because like kids and hands and chametz, it's just like a mess. So I pulled the whole thing apart, and then we were pushing. So yesterday we were putting it back together in their room. And at one point we realized, we were so bummed, like, shucks, we put the wrong piece in the wrong place, and we had to basically undo most of our hard work in order to get that piece out of that place, in order to put it in the right place. And I realized I had two choices. When we realized that it was the wrong piece in the wrong place, I had two choices. Choice number one would be like, darn it, shoot, like, why did we mess this up? We should have thought about this better. We really should have been more on top of it. But thanks to you guys and us learning together every single morning, I had more of an appreciation, whether I consciously felt it or not. But I realized I didn't jump to like a negative reaction. I said, oh, look at that, it's hashgacha pratis. And like Leivik loved it. He was like, yeah, mommy, it's hashgacha pratis. Like, we get to have even more fun putting it back together, and like, so like, you may not feel it, and you may not necessarily consciously feel like, wow, I said Shema today, so therefore I'm in like la love land with the Eibishter. But you will notice slowly but surely that the more consistently you do it, the more you get yourself in a mindset of Hashem's perspective of the world. What would Hashem feel, and what would Hashem say at this point? What am I supposed to be living with at this point? And your reactions, or your proactive actions, like not even a reaction, but maybe you'll be like, for example, yesterday I was even more inclined, somebody in the Kala teacher training like group, so her husband is in very, very critical condition because of coronavirus, and so I don't for me, it's hard to like pick a random day, Yom of Tehillim, and just say it, even though I was kashering in the kitchen and whatever. And so like, but you know what? I had this more appreciation and being in tune with Hashem. And so therefore I was like, yeah, of course. What do you mean? It's Tehillim. Like, even though I'm kashering the kitchen, I need to do a lot of things, but like this guy is in critical condition. Like I really have to do this now. And Baruch Hashem, we finished Tehillim twice last night. This is while I was waiting for the pot to boil so I can kasher the rest of my kitchen. But anyway, so that's the thing. That's the reality. Yes, you're technically living a life. You're living your regular life. You're being with your kids, or you're teaching your kids online, or you're cleaning your house, but just you have your Hashem classes, so you're able to see the world with more of an appreciation. So again, we have to. That's why we need to boost ourselves when we say Shema, and that's when we need to boost ourselves, learning Chassidus and giving extra tzedakah and being a little more careful in the times that we are being conscious of Hashem. That way it feeds and it builds our Hashem glasses for the rest of the day. Okay, we are currently on page 56. It's the last ice, so I'm very, very proud. Kol hakavod to everybody. And kol hakavod to everybody for putting up with my Pesach craziness behind me. But anyway, okay. Torah and tefillah and tzedakah, Torah, prayer and charity, unrestrained, bli gvul, going beyond your limitations, and these three things. All this can help us understand the pasuk. I will show you the wonders as during the days you left Mitzrayim. Why does the pasuk state the days you left Mitzrayim in the plural? It's a very good question. We left once. We went and we out we go. Why does it say days? Why is it plural? So, sorry. Where is 89? In Maamar, in Chassidic discourses, they explain. So it's several of them. So here he puts an example. Sefer Maamar 5708, page 164. Okay. So in several different Maamarim, it explains that the beginning of the 15th of Nisan, when the Yidden actually left Mitzrayim, we continue leaving, that beginning then, with the 15th of Nisan, we continue leaving our restrictions and our limitations each day, each person according to their individual state. I said this yesterday, I want to re-clarify it. It means your personal Mitzrayim. Whatever you think are what holds you back, or I'm not good at this, or I'm so terrible at that, or whatever you negatively label yourself, realize that every single day you have this power to leave your Mitzrayim. You're meant to work on leaving that and say, no, Ad Kan. I'm not saying this about myself. I'm going to change my wording, and I'm going to say, I'm getting better at this. I'm working on whatever that is. I'm working on not speaking Lashon Hara. I'm working on, being more organized with my time and my day. I'm working on being happier with my kids as their home, whatever that is for you. In other words, we each experience a personal redemption from our own limitations on a daily basis. This means, as stated above, that we leave our restraints in all three pillars upon which the world stands. Namely, so we know, we've heard this a million times in Chassidus, what are the three pillars upon which the world stands? We give tzedakah without restraint. Tzedakah is identical with the pillar of acts of kindness, and encompasses all the mitzvahs, right? So when we give tzedakah and we really work on ourselves, and I want to give a huge thank you to everybody who works so hard. It's actually exactly a month. I mean, in the English month, I know, because I'm getting all the recurring donations are coming in today, yesterday and today. So it's exactly a month since we did our campaign. So I want to give a huge thank you to every single one of you who gave tzedakah, bli gvul, and you guys all pushed, whether you yourselves gave from your pockets or you encouraged other and gave everybody else the opportunity to do this amazing tzedakah and do this amazing mitzvah of giving tzedakah bli gvul. Baruch Hashem, we did it, and we're still going. And again, it's something to keep in mind. Now is a good time to give tzedakah. It is technically a separate mitzvah, which is called ma'al chitim, to give tzedakah to people that are helping others get their whatever they need for Pesach. Because ma'al chitim is technically it's gathering of the wheat. But what they used to do is that they used to gather with people who weren't able to afford wheat for matzah. So the Rav of the town used to take quote unquote taxes from everybody in the town, and he would then split it up to be able to pay for anybody who needed help gathering, paying for their wheat for matzah. Okay, so giving stock without restraint. That's pillar number 1, which encompasses Gemil's Chasadim. We are involved in prayer without restraint. It may happen that others try to persuade us that due to business-related matters, communal affairs, or other issues, we do not have time to pray. Here it says with a minyan, but right now, as we know, minyan's not quite an option. So I guess, and again, this is a very important thing, that all the rabbanim that have come out and said that minyanim are not allowed these days, they say that you need to take the same force and the same strength that you would if there was a minyan, or to get to the minyan, so to speak, and spend that quality time davening with more kavanah. The Eibishter gets more kavanah, even though we're not going to, we're all women in this thing, but I'm saying we have to keep that consciousness that now with our current situation, we're meant to have a drop, even just a drop. Again, bleed full doesn't mean go crazy. It means just push yourself a little bit more to have more kavanah in your davening. Even if you're a mommy, you just say brachas and Shema and Shema Esrei. So make sure that Shema and Shema Esrei is really powerful and meaningful, and you say, okay, Eibishter, I'm using this Shema and Shema Esrei to connect with you right here, right now. Okay. So to daven with proper focus, with proper kavanah. However, we disregard these thoughts entirely and are involved in davening without restraint, which means with all your might. You give it your all. You really push yourself and connect to the Eibishter through davening. And again, a lot of our Yetzer Hara, at least I'll speak for myself, a lot of my Yetzer Hara is, I'm busy with this and I'm busy with that, and and then I realize, and I start taking stock of how much time I spend scrolling on my phone, and I said, 1 second, that's my Yetzer Hara. I really do have the time. I do have the time. If I have time to play a board game, if I have the time to read news online, if I have the time to, whatever, that means I can take an extra 5 minutes and daven, and whether it's 5, 10, 15, whatever, however long your davening takes, I could take an extra few minutes and not use them in other shtosadika things, and really spend that quality time and set it as a priority in my day to daven. Okay. And number 3, we establish set times of to study Torah every day, and certainly on Shabbos and Yom Tov without restraint. And I said this the first Shabbos we were in quarantine. I told everybody, and I'm pretty sure I put that in the 1 minute update. I said, guys, this is an opportunity that we have. The Eibishter wants to keep us home, so we have extra time to really daven and learn. Shabbos is starting tonight. We have to realize that we have to make that extra effort. We're not walking anywhere. We're not going to shul. We're not going to our meals. We're not going to be late anywhere. We could take that little bit of time and say, okay, I just want to read a little bit more. And I know many of us are stuck at home with our kids, and I, for myself, my learning on Shabbos has been even less, because I want to make sure my husband has proper davening, so I make sure to play with the kids the whole morning, and that way he's able to daven. But in the afternoon, Baruch Hashem, he's given me the great opportunity to take some time where I can go and I can do the learning that I used to do in the morning, and I catch up, and I do, and Hashem gets a lot of pleasure. I want to clarify this for all the mommies on the call. Hashem gets immense amount of pleasure of you taking care of your kids, and you trying your best to be as besimcha and showing them. And again, as Rev Brian said in the guide for Pesach that he came out with, is that it's worse to beat yourself up and be negative. So we have to try our best to give our kids a positive experience. And again, I shouldn't have said that, but there's no point in beating yourself up if you are negative. Okay, that's the Yetzer Hara, and just move on, and let's keep just keep going, just keep swimming, as they say. Okay, so we should set quality time to study, especially on Shabbos and on the Yom Tov of Pesach, and set time this Shabbos. Please, everybody take your Haggadahs out. Ask yourself the Manishtana and ask yourself the questions and see if you can, most people nowadays have these fancy schmancy Haggadahs with all the Chassidus and all the commentary inside. Take time to look at it, review it. If you listen to the mock Seder, please take time to review the notes from the mock Seder. prepare yourself. This is a wonderful time. The Eibusher gave us this amazing Kfiyas where we have some time between now and the Seder that we can actually prepare. Okay, through abolishing our own limitations in the service of Hashem, the spiritual limitations in the realm of holiness disappear. Okay, so by us doing our part, and we said this earlier, Hashem's the one that created this limitation. We get rid of our own personal limitations, and so therefore Hashem gets rid of the limitations He set on the world. Okay. Subsequently, the same occurs to the limitations in the realm of klippas, and ultimately in Mitzrayim, in the literal sense, is abolished as well, in the form of the redemption of the Jewish nation as a whole through Mashiach. So when we push ourselves beyond our limitations, Hashem removes the limitations from spirituality, but not only that, but Hashem actually removes the limitations. Hashem takes away the Mitzrayim, the Maamarim, which is the actual gullus that we live in right now. So every time we spend a drop extra, everybody who's joining this call, you're making such a huge difference that we don't even know. Just like we don't know if somebody, Chas v'shalom, is a carrier of this virus and they walked around and they coughed somewhere and they don't know who was the next person that walked past and got that droplet of whatever. So too here, we're doing this for the good. Every single person here who's joining and who's learning Torah, who's spending this time, is saving a life of somebody in this world because they are doing something beyond their limitations that is now giving the Eibusher, it's literally removing negative klippas, negative limitations from the world as a whole. So kol hakavod to every one of you. You guys are saving lives by being here. Today's advantage. And now we're, woohoo! Good job, everybody. We're doing this. Today's advantage. We can now understand why we will continue to mention Yetzias Mitzrayim in the era of Mashiach. Let me just check that. Right? Because we asked that question earlier on. We said, if the coming Mashiach is so lofty and it's so great that everything we will see that the Davids are created in front of our eyes. So why exactly are we celebrating Yetzias Mitzrayim? It's going to be so small and unimportant, so to speak. This is due to the amazing quality inherent in the area of Iskafia. Okay, we're going to translate Iskafia. Ah, beautiful. Okay, I'm going to read their footnote because their footnote does a great job. There are two. Okay, here it goes. There are two approaches to purifying the animal soul and directing it towards the service of Hashem. I want to clarify that. Purify and direct. It doesn't mean kill. It doesn't mean torture. It doesn't mean self-deprecating and beat yourself up because I'm beating my animal soul up, okay? It means to purify and redirect. The animal soul, to redirect it towards the service of Hashem. These are known as Iskafia and Ischabcha. Iskafia means that a man controls and disciplines the selfish impulses of the animal soul. In this element, the animal soul still has the urge to indulge in selfish and evil things. Ischabcha, transformation, refers to a higher level in which man masters the impulses of the animal soul and redirects them to the selfless and the holy, so that the animal soul itself loves Hashem. It need no longer be subdued, for it has been transformed for the service of Hashem. These two methods reflect the difference between the present era and the era of Mashiach. In the era of Mashiach, we will succeed in transforming the forces of evil into good, Ischabcha. Presently, however, the primary approach is that of Iskafia, right? So, for example, Iskafia, I've had this speech. Let me just check on the time. Okay, Iskafia doesn't mean. We once had a Bachrit at our house, and he took. This is way back when we used to have brownies for dessert. So he took a brownie, he put it in front of his plate, and then at the end of the meal, he said, "Oh, I'm so proud of myself. I'm not going to eat it." And we're like, "You missed the point, buddy. You missed the point." Baruch Hashem, he's learned differently since, but. That is a very grave misunderstanding of what Iskafia means. Iskafia doesn't mean take a brownie, put it in front of your plate, and then don't eat it because I'm not going to eat it. I'm going to, break myself. No, it means right now, if we want whatever it is that our Nefesh Bahamis wants, that is against the Eibusher, we need to push it just a bit, and push it and educate it and talk to it. And there's in the Frierdiker Rebbe's I'm tired. Basi Lagani, the Frierdiker Rebbe's Basi Lagani, he speaks about that we need the force of the Nefesh Bahamis to push and infuse our Nefesh Elokis with Chayus. And so we need to take it and we need to educate it for the good. So this means to hold it back and say, no. Right now is not the time to check my phone and watch all the news and get myself all depressed. Right now is the time to prepare for Shabbos. Right now is the time to learn and daven. Right now is the time to join a Living Chassidus shir. Right? So it's pushing ourselves out of that comfort zone and having and pushing that towards what the Eibusher wants, not self-destruction. Chas v'shalom. Even when back to the regular text. Even when we are beset by the spiritual darkness of the world's limitations and restrictions, we achieve a powerful victory and leave these very limitations in Torah study, in davening, and in gemilas chasadim and acts of kindness. Hashem derives a unique pleasure from this accomplishment, the likes of which does not exist with his hapcha. Okay, so we have to, one second. Okay, let me read this footnote because it actually does a beautiful job of explaining what I was about to say. Okay, although the Coffea of the animal soul has not been transformed to holiness, unlike his hapcha, right? Because his hapcha, you transform it. You say, okay, now my Nefesh Bahamis loves davening. Now my Nefesh Bahamis loves Torah and Aveda and all the things. Okay, so being that even though a Coffea doesn't, holding back and saying, no, I'm not gonna indulge in negative things. I'm actually gonna turn myself towards good, positive things. Something just vibrated. Okay. So even though it doesn't turn it to holiness, but listen to this. Hashem derives a unique pleasure from our efforts to subdue our animalistic passions while they are still in full force. For this reason, and this is according to Tanya Perek, chapter 27, for this reason, our present efforts will have value even in the era of Mashiach. So by us holding back from picking up our phone first thing and saying my da'ani first and washing negavasser first, let's say, even though we didn't necessarily change our Nefesh Bahamis for the good as a whole, but the fact that we held back and we said, wow, Hashem, I'm gonna give myself over to you now by not doing this thing. So therefore, the Eibusher gets a very, very special type of pleasure that even when Mashiach comes, that pleasure is still going to be very, very high. For this reason, Yetzias Mitzrayim is mentioned and carries weight each day. So every single day we have this opportunity. So therefore, every single day we have this level of Yetzias Mitzrayim. Furthermore, it will be mentioned even when the times of Mashiach, an era of Mashiach. Even then, we will evoke the greatness of our achievements to Coffea in exile, as explained in various texts at length. Through our efforts in suppressing the forces of evil, we reveal the glory of Hashem in all worlds. We especially reveal the glory of Hashem in this material world, the place where we study Torah and perform the mitzvahs, fulfilling the will of Hashem. Remember what we said, the Maggid of Mizrach said fulfilling the will of Hashem means you pushed yourself just a bit. You pushed yourself to join a Living Chassidus shir, and you pushed yourself to daven with a little bit more kavanah. I lost my place. Okay. Through serving him with all of our heart, with all of our soul, and with all of our might. This hastens the time when Hashem will put an end to darkness, so that this era will arrive immediately and with the true and complete redemption through our righteous Mashiach. We will then see with our physical eyes the fulfillment of the promise. I will show you wonders as during the days you left Mitzrayim. Mazel tov, we did it. Amen. The Eibusher should show us those wonders right here, right now. We're going to be on this call celebrating together the shofar blow of Mashiach right here, right now. So just to recap and finish off, we need to push ourselves in the three pillars of the world. We need to push ourselves in our tzedakah, in general, in gemilas chasadim, doing the chesed that we do. So A huge shout out to everybody who's been taking care of everybody who's here in Crown Heights and who's preparing for their Pesach in a very different way than that they ever expected. So a huge shout out to everybody who's been helping, whether it's on the WhatsApp or physically or whatever. And giving tzedakah is one of them. Another one is working on our davening to just even, again, many of us don't have that much more time because we have our kids and it's a full schedule. But just every time we say Shema, to take a moment and breathe and say, okay, I need to think about Hashem at this point, right? And don't just like mumble words and like blah, 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 blah. Just take a moment, 1 second, and just take a breath and say, okay, Hashem, I'm thinking about you during this Shema. Everybody else who has a bit more time, making a little more effort to really work on your davening. I was actually going to share a shir today about davening. It's really beautiful. And then to make sure to set times to study Torah every single day, which kol hakavod to everybody who watches this class every day, and specifically, certainly, how much more so Shabbos and Yom Tov when we have a little bit more time and less constraints, so to speak. And so we need to take, especially the Shabbos, please everybody take out your Haggadah, take a look at what we're meant to be doing, ask yourself questions, learn Chassidus on it. It's going to be really beautiful. And through doing this, we actually we save lives. We remove the clippers that are in this world right now. The biggest clipper we're dealing with is this coronavirus. So every time you guys learn, every time you guys daven, every time each and every one of us does a chesed, we're actually saving the lives of people that are dealing with this struggle. And how much more so when Mashiach comes, we will still celebrate Yetzias Mitzrayim, because this level of pushing ourselves beyond our limitations is so high and it's so amazing that even when Mashiach comes, we're gonna say, wow, how amazing was it that how much I pushed myself when the Galus was there. When things weren't easy and we couldn't see the Eibusher revealed, I still pushed myself beyond my limits. And that will help us right now to see the wonders and as during when we left Mitzrayim, and may we see them right here, right now with the coming of Mashiach, even before Shabbos. So Mazel Tov and Kol HaKavod everybody on your hard work for joining this year.